What would you do for work? I could get a job as a clerk for the steamship authority in Port Newcomb, or I could work at the bank or in the post office, or maybe I'll write for the local newspaper. It sounded as if he'd given their future together a lot of consideration, but she had to be sure he truly understood what he'd be sacrificing to marry her. Your life is so foreign from mine. Sometimes I feel like we come from completely different worlds. You'd be leaving behind everything you know, your friends, your family. He smiled and touched her arm. None of that matters. My parents could see us during the summer if they wanted to. But what about the rest of the year? You might get homesick for city life. I love how quiet the island is during winter, but if you're not used to it, the seclusion can seem very bleak, she told him. How can you be sure you'd be content living in a little house on Dune Island year-round? Because Dune Island is where you are. So I know I'd never be content living anywhere else. The intensity of his tone melted away the last of her reservations. He added, "It'll be agonizing enough to be separated when I leave Hope Haven for a few months in September." "I feel that way too," she murmured, knowing she'd have to rely on memories of their summer together to keep her company until he returned. "Then it's okay if I tell my parents about us when I get the chance?" "Yes, if you think it's a good idea. I just hope they won't object to you marrying someone like me." He cut her off. "Don't be silly. You're lovely and clever and kind. Of course they won't object." She wished she could say her father wouldn't object either, but he was so protective that she hadn't even told him she had a boyfriend. How was she going to persuade him to agree to their marriage? "If it's all right with you, I'd like to wait until you come back before you talk to my father about our plans. I need time to ease him into the idea." "I understand." He cleared his throat. I'll have an engagement ring to give you when I propose properly. For now, there's something else I'd like you to have." He slid his hand into his pocket and withdrew a small object. Even in the moonlight, she could tell that the heart-shaped pendant was made of sterling silver. It was one of the few metals that wasn't rationed during the war, but it was very costly. Handing it to her, he seemed embarrassed to admit, "I'm so sorry. There's no chain, but—" "That's okay," she said quickly. "A separate chain would draw attention and then someone might ask where I got it. I'll add this heart to the one I'm already wearing." Ever since she was 12 years old, she'd worn a gold chain and cross that she'd inherited from her late mother, tucked inside her modest high-collar shirts. The young woman unfastened the necklace and deftly threaded the chain through the loop of the pendant. Then she held it up, dangling it at eye level. "It's beautiful. Thank you." "It opens like a locket," he informed her. "The inside is engraved. I'll light a match so you can read it." "No, we'd better not take the risk." Although mandatory nighttime blackouts were no longer deemed necessary on the island, the way they were the year the U.S. first entered the war, many residents continued to exercise precautions along the shoreline, and she didn't want her family or someone up the hill to spot them. Besides, whatever was inscribed in the locket, she wanted to hear it from his lips while she still could. "I'd like you to tell me what it says. Please." She gave the necklace to him, turned her back and gathered her hair from the nape of her neck. He was all thumbs as he struggled to fasten the ends of the chain together, and his bumbling touch made her shiver. After he'd softly recited the inscription into her ear, she turned to look him in the eye. "Yes, I will," she answered, nodding. "I promise." 1. "I've inherited my great-aunt's cottage?" Paige Taylor repeated incredulously, pressing the phone against her ear. "Are you sure?" "Yes. You're the sole beneficiary of Violet Atkins and..."